Hey everyone, so I'm hanging out with V and Arch Warhammer, my secret Skype cabal of people I play video games with, to basically talk about something that came to my attention today, which was apparently at a recent EDL march. Someone was recommending my channel, and there's a video of it, and I thought we'd watch the video and see exactly how soon I'm going to be crowned King of the White Nationalists. So, how are you guys doing?
Well, I'm doing great. I guess any type of publicity is good publicity. Yeah?
What about you, Arch?
Oh, I'm doing fine. Even better now that we know that we have the ultra-nationalists and the Nazis backing us, because they get shit done.
Yeah, but they also lose, don't they? Let's be honest, they do lose. You know?
In the long run, yes. They build some awesome railroads before they lose.
I'm not gonna lie. The autobahns are a fine idea. It's a shame that we have to associate them with fascism. So, just for anyone listening as well, I'm actually going to be interviewing Tommy Robinson tomorrow. So, but I don't think anyone actually knew this. So this is an interesting coincidence. But yeah, I'm gonna start by saying Tommy Robinson is the only person from EDL I've ever spoken to, and that was only in the last day or so while arranging this interview. I don't know anything about the EDL other than the mainstream media narrative, which is that they're a bunch of racists. But after being in Gamergate, honestly, I'm starting to think that mainstream media narratives are almost universally wrong. I mean, you know, look at Black Lives Matter, look at Gamergate, look at, I mean, anything. Any sort of movement that's just against the progressive narrative is characterized as either, if it's for, it's characterized as angelic, and if it's against, it's characterized as a hate movement. So,
unless it's Islam, then it's also progressive.
Well, yeah, exactly. It fits the progressive narrative of, peaceful Muslims screaming Allahu Akbar and then blowing themselves up.
Not even that, see, that's why I hate. A lot of people are associating Muslims with terrorists. That Muslim terrorists are the problem. The problem is the Islamists. The ones that America doesn't deal with usually. The ones that use democracy as a weapon against itself. The ones that go on and want Sharia law, Sharia patrols. I think those are far worse than terrorists.
Yeah, and I've called this stream ultra liberals because, we'll watch the video and you'll see why in a second.
Socialism, Nazis, what they keep calling us. Not one of us are National Socialists, but National Socialists.
Okay, that's an interesting start, actually. I've only watched like a bit of this video, and I've rewound it a little bit before to see what they were saying, to give it a bit of context. I mean, do you think this guy is actually a Nazi when he's saying that he's not a Nazi?
I don't think so. Like, everything I have heard of Tommy Robinson, which is somewhat limited, I'll grant you, mostly mainstream media stuff, but he keeps denying that he's a National Socialist. Like, how many Nazis do you actually know that deny that they're Nazis?
I don't know. This was the response that libertarian socialist Rants said in his video. He was like, they lie, and I'm like, no, they don't. Actual Nazis don't lie about being Nazis. They're actually really upfront about it, and it's like worrying.
Apparently, burnt a Nazi flag as well. I mean, like, what more proof do people? Here's the thing: if you go to an Islamist and you ask them, "Do you hate the Jews?" He's going to say he hates.
Oh yeah, I've got a video. We'll cover that a little bit later actually in the stream. I've got a video about that we can talk about.
Okay.
But you're right. Yeah, sorry. I just wanted to get your initial impression. Does this guy seem like a Nazi? I mean, I don't know if he is or isn't. I know he's saying he's not, but.
Socialism and socialist workers like them clowns, they're so far opposed, they're actually back to back. They are no better than the Nazi party they claim to be against. They are nothing but anti-white clowns. They are ashamed of their own race. It's time to stand up. Tell them idiots, we won't take it anymore. On street! On street! On street! On street!
Okay, so what do you guys make of that?
Well, V go first.
Yeah, you go first.
Yeah, let Arch go first, because you always talk, V.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but again, I really don't see why he would be lying when he has his own protesters at his back. Like, if you're a Nazi and you've got 50 Nazis behind you, you're probably going to talk like a Nazi. You're not going to turn and go, they're not Nazis. They are. It seems like a somewhat shitty tactic.
Yeah, I don't see why, when they're out in strength, they would be pretending not to be Nazis. I mean, why? I mean, the Nazis that I have seen online and spoken to, they just seem to think it's a good idea, whereas these people don't seem to think it's a good idea. And I'm of the opinion that maybe they have been massively mischaracterized. I mean, I don't know. I haven't spoken to any of them personally, so I can't say. But what did you think of this, V?
Well, the things he is saying are not necessarily untrue. I mean, we see progressives really hating the fact that they're white. We see Angela Merkel throwing away the German flag. We see people in Germany, in the parliament saying that in the future there will be less white people, and that's a good thing. And let's not forget, Germany has a lot of sway in the European Union, and since that guy is in Britain, a lot of legislation coming from European Union is being promoted in Britain. So I can see the guy is concerned. Nothing he is saying is not something that would at least warrant a discussion and a debate on the subject.
Well, I think that was it Sadiq Khan, the new mayor of London, when he was saying there are too many white people on the London Transport Authority Board or something. I mean, that just struck me as a really bizarre thing for anyone who claims to be a representative of, whites and non-whites alike as the mayor of London to say. I mean, it's hard not to interpret that as an anti-white statement, And I'm not a fan of this sort of anti-white genocide. I don't think there's a white genocide going on. But I mean, there are definitely people who are anti-white, and we can point to some of them. So I don't think he's entirely wrong by saying that there are people who are anti-white. I think that there definitely are,
And the thing is, like most racists, they're usually proud of the fact that they are racist, so they're really easy to spot.
Yeah. Yeah, it's only politicians who need to lie. The other people are grassroots activists who want to see the change they're demanding, even if it is a terrible change. The only people who have to lie about that are politicians in order to get mainstream attention, in order to get sort of mass votes, I
mean, let's look at someone that's actually racist, like the guy just covered, the black Hitler.
Oh, yeah.
The guy openly admits he does not like white people, and, that white people should owe him reparations and whatnot. You can see this in university campuses, with people who actually hate whites, and they openly say it's like white people are privileged, they need to step down. I don't see this guy talking any of that rhetoric.
Well, that's the thing. But I mean, we've only just started, so let's see if he does.
Yeah. Fair.
On that badge up there, that's my politics. Equality before the law, democracy and liberty, including free speech. If you're a liberal, which I am.
Okay, so he claims to be a liberal, in favour of democracy and free speech. Not very fascist. I'm not gonna lie. It's not normally what Nazis call themselves.
Let's be honest. Maybe he's just putting on a show for the cameras, even though I consider that to be unlikely. But I mean, you really have to go back to the assumption. He's saying something. Should we believe him? And I say yeah, because we don't really have any other proof or reason not to believe him at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I found interesting is in 2013, I think it was, that Tommy Robinson left the English Defence League because he was concerned about infiltration by white nationalist groups. And that in itself suggests that A, it wasn't primarily a white nationalist group, and B, there are probably still many people in it who are not white nationalists. So, I mean, maybe these are the people who are not white nationalists who are part of the EDL, who are, maybe these are the people who are in the process of being co-opted.
When is this video?
Yeah, also, these people sound more like Pegida.
This was, what was the date this was part? Yeah.
Well, Pegida is also nationalist. And
9th of April, so not longer at all. Yeah, but they're not, are they racial nationalists or what? Ethno-nationalist?
Pegida?
Yeah.
No, they're not. They're not nationalists, nor are they racist, really. If you actually look at their demands, nothing in there looks to be racist. And they're definitely not Nazis. In fact, one of their primary icons is the Wilhelm flag, which is an anti-Nazi resistance mark.
That's interesting. I don't actually know what Pegida are asking for, but just to Wikipedia it quickly. Patriotic Europeans against the Islamization of the West. I don't disagree with the idea on the face of it. I mean, I don't want to see the Islamization of the West.
Yeah, they're anti-Islamic, no doubt about that, but
Yeah.
that doesn't mean they're anti-brown people.
No, in fact, there are many brown people who are anti-Islamic. Most of them who have been on the receiving end.
They actually say they want better conditions for refugees. They're okay with immigration. They're not okay with massive immigration, and they want the law to be applied on refugees that come in, and they want to be deported if they break the law.
Right, okay. So, like I said, I don't actually know much about
if you go down to about a fourth day way the way, you'll see their position paper, which essentially lines out their 19 points.
Right, okay, so number 1 is approve the right of asylum for war refugees and politically persecuted people, okay. Advocates the inclusion of the right and duty to integration into the German constitution, okay. Advocates decentralized acceptance of refugees and torture victims instead of often poor quality refugee centers, okay. Suggests creation of a central refugee agency for a fair allocation of immigrants among countries of the European Union. Brexit. Demands a decrease in the ratio of asylum seekers per social worker from the current number of 200 to 1. Fucking hell, I didn't realise it was that high. Jesus. Suggests modelling German immigration policies after those of the Netherlands and Switzerland. What, two white nationalist racist countries? I think not. And demands an increased budget for the Federal Office of Migration and Refugees to speed up processing of applications. That sounds reasonable. Demands an increase in funding for the police, which seems necessary. Demands enforcement of all asylum laws, including expulsion, which Germany's actually doing now. They actually sent back a few hundred, I think it was, the other week. Mentions zero tolerance towards criminal refugees and immigrants. Yep, totally agree. States that Pegida opposes misogynistic and violent political ideology, but does not oppose Muslims in country who have integrated in society. I think this can be summed up by saying they're not opposed to Germans who are Muslims, but they are opposed to Muslims living in Germany. So people who are only Muslim and not Germans. It's about...
that refuse to become Germans.
Yes. And I don't disagree with that either. Supports an immigration model like Switzerland, Australia, Canada or South Africa. Yep. Totally white supremacist countries. States that Pegida supports sexual self-determination, those misogynists. Argues for the protection of Germany's traditional Judean-Christian culture. Have they not become like Sweden yet? Germany has no culture.
They actually want to keep their culture. It's ridiculous, honestly.
I tell you what, man. If Bratwurst became extinct, I'd be upset. I fucking love Bratwurst. Supports the introduction of a referenda as in Switzerland. Yeah, okay. Opposes weapon exports to radical and non-permitted groups such as the PKK. Okay. Opposes parallel societies and parallel jurisdiction in our midst. For example, Sharia courts, Sharia police, Sharia magistrates. My God, I can't tell you how much I agree with that sentiment.
I honestly don't understand how people can still not be Islamic and support Sharia law. It's like, it's not about criminal courts. No, it's about discriminating towards your country's citizens, you dipshit. What about the women who are forced into these courts and their testimony doesn't matter unless they get another woman there? Do you think this is how your citizens should be treated?
Yeah. It shouldn't be happening. I don't care who it's happening to. It shouldn't be happening. I don't care about the reason that they're doing it either. It shouldn't be happening.
The Jews would have their own judicial system, and the Muslims would have their own, and the Christians would have their own. I mean, I think the Mormons actually... why do you tolerate multiple systems under, inside your country? There should be only one law for all citizens.
Yeah, I know that does sound like a reasonable thing to ask for, but you've got to understand that asking for that makes you a racist. So
yeah,
obviously,
yeah, they oppose gender mainstreaming and politically correct gender neutralization of our speech. Fair enough. Indicates that Pegida opposes any radicalism, whether religious or politically motivated. Says that Pegida opposes hate preachers regardless of religion. So presumably they would be against the Westboro Baptist Church and Abu Hamza.
Yes.
I honestly see nothing there that I disapprove of. Now, this is without any particular further knowledge of Pegida. I don't really know much about them.
The thing with Pegida is it's a very open grassroots organization, which means that there have been people in their rallies holding communist flags and holding Nazi flags and stuff, because they're open to all stuff. But Pegida as an organization is not Nazi. I mean, for fuck's sake, if you look on the right there, there's a picture with the Israeli flag in the middle of what is supposedly a Nazi demonstration.
That actually is. I'll show everyone that, because that is actually hilarious. What? See, now
Imagine how many outright people you would trigger with that.
Now, this is something that I'm really going to have to try and explain slowly and carefully to progressives. Nazis don't wave the Israeli flag. I mean, that's. I mean, I can't believe I have to say this, but apparently there are people who don't understand this, and this is just. I mean, they're really good liars if they do. You know, I mean, I'm really fooled if that's the case, and I mean, I'm not seeing any swastikas. You know, like 100% more Star of David than swastika. But weird Nazi rally. I mean, I don't attend many, so I'm going to be honest. I don't know how they generally are. But yeah, no, this is. I'm very, very tired of the mainstream media mischaracterization of almost everyone with an objection. And the thing is, it's weird because, like, you know, in the sort of, I don't even know what to call our little corner of the internet on YouTube, but I mean, they call us racist all the time, but all we do is argue against racism, you know? And if they're calling us racist, then if there are other people arguing the same thing that we just don't know, then, I mean, why would I take their fucking word for it? You know? I know they're liars.
I just had a discussion a few days ago with Black Pigeon Speaks. You know, he believed that so women destroy society, and that went against my beliefs, and I had a discussion. You know, I mean. Well,
yeah, no, we'll pick up on that in a bit actually, because that's something I wanted to mention. We'll carry on a minute, and we'll just pick up on that a bit.
Right, 2 YouTube sites. Rocking Mr. E. Where's the cameraman? Rocking Mr. E. This guy is a liberal. He's definitely against socialism, and he's a white survivalist. Listen to what he's got to.
Okay, now I know who Rocking Mr. E is. I've seen a few of his videos. I haven't seen that many though, so I wouldn't describe him as being a Nazi by any sense of the imagination. I mean. I don't think. I mean, he seems more like extreme libertarian. Like, you know, he doesn't want the state controlling industry. You know, he doesn't, as far as I'm aware, anyway, as far as I can tell. And he's very certainly against communism. In fact, he seems to be generally against collectivism, which is a good thing.
What's his name? Because I hear Rocket Mystery and I can't find him.
Rocking Mystery. I'll send you a link.
Rocket.
Yeah, he's not bad. I mean, he did a video on cultural Marxism a while ago that was actually really good, and it was true. You know, it was accurate. I think the problem that a lot of people have with him is that he states things that might be true, but you can't be entirely certain, and therefore it sounds maybe a little bit conspiratorial. But I think that was really him being a little bit ahead of the curve there, really. It seems that we now have the evidence that all of this is actually like he was saying. So he might have been right on a few things. I mean, like I said, I might be mischaracterizing him. He might be a Nazi. I don't know. I don't watch his videos. But I don't think he is from... that's not the impression he gave me, anyway.
I wonder if the Nazis were also very covert when they went into Germany and tried to get power. You know, they were very shady, and they worked under the radar, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, by the way, we were Nazis all the time. Wahaha.
I wonder if they'd be surprised how many apparent Nazis there are running around after, you know, like 80 years after their defeat or whatever. They're like, Christ, you know, there are Nazis everywhere. Look at them pointing fingers at all these Nazis.
Like, Adolf, did we really lose the war?
Yeah, exactly.
Also got on YouTube, this guy has got 250,000 followers.
Oh, that'll be me.
Sargon of Akkad. an ultra-liberal, a free-thinking man who is in favour of democracy. He understands that liberalism has got to defeat the fascism of the left and the right. Now,
Okay, what a Nazi. Liberalism has got to defeat the fascism of the left and the right. Now, he hasn't mischaracterized me there at all. That's exactly what I think. You know, I do think we have to defeat these people. What the fuck?
I really hate when the left is called fascist, that they're communists, really. I mean, it's...
Yeah, they are. They are. But when they say fascism, they mean totalitarianism. That's what they mean.
Well, they should say it like that, because
should.
it pretty much invokes Godwin's law, and I saw a lot of people stop taking you seriously when you say, like, the left is fascist, you know?
Yeah.
But when you say communism, and you, like, people kind of... At least the ones I talk with in Eastern Europe, you know?
Yeah. People are aware that, you know, it's totalitarian that we need to start. Fascist is an easy thing to just drop down to, but totalitarian actually means something like beyond the realm of one political ideology. And I think that's the important word to use there, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. And it also makes it harder for people to invoke Godwin's law against their argument.
Yeah, it does. It does, because...
Fascism might not be a decent kind of explanation for the extreme left, though, because you gotta remember, fascism is an extremist, authoritarian, nationalist organization.
Yeah.
And with organizations like I can't remember what the fuck it was called, the one with the Black Hitler.
Sorry,
I mean, they could definitely be labeled as fascists. Black Hitler's organization.
Well, no, they're definitely communist. Definitely communist.
Islam is fascist.
They're not nationalists, that's the thing. They're international Marxists. So they're
nationalists, though, because they're African rights and all that.
Yeah, but Africa isn't a nation, is
right?
it? You know, they're racist. They think black people are a class, a universal international class, who are obviously universally oppressed, even though, you know, in Zimbabwe, I don't think anyone could call black people oppressed. And yeah, so they're communists, they're internationalists, they're not nationalists. So calling them fascists is objectively wrong.
Sargon Islam
Okay.
are fascists. You know, people who...
Sorry, say again, mate.
Support Islamists, they're fascists. You know, that want Islam to cover the entire world. That want...
I think they're just totalitarian. I don't think you can call them fascist.
Why? They think Islam is superior to everything else.
Yeah, but that's not a nation.
It's a difference in definition, I suppose, because I would kind of assume at that point that their racist culture would then almost become their nation, since their people is the nation, kind of.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
it goes a little away from the definition, but then again, it's like, so calling progressives communists, it also makes the definition, you know, a bit more...
Well, they kind of are, though. I mean, you know, they're very anti-capitalist. They're entirely Marxist. It's hard not to see them as a sort of brand of Marxism, communism. You know, and there are plenty of communists within their ranks, like, you know, open communists within their ranks.
Oh yeah, especially old people. Like every time I see a meeting on campus, there's usually like an old guy that you find out that he's a blogger or an activist, and he's actually a communist.
But I mean, I suppose if you would say that the Islamists want like a universal caliphate, and that being the nation, as someone in the chat just suggested, I mean, maybe you could call them fascist.
Definitely.
Yeah. But the thing, what the guy was saying here, I can't believe that people like look at these fascists standing up on a stage yelling, "Look at this guy! He's an ultra liberal. He believes in democracy." I mean, these are anti-fascist ideas. These are the ideas the fascists were railing against. This is what they had a problem with. You know, this is.
Well, it's easy to explain, really. The media just calls them fascist, and people don't have the time of listening to what they actually have to say. And you read throughout different newspapers that these people are fascists, and then you start believing it. You know, despite the fact you never heard these people speak.
Yeah, and that's exactly how it worked with Gamergate, and it's obviously exactly how it's working here. Because, I mean, I can't imagine any genuinely fascist organisation jumping up and screaming, "Look at Sargon, he's great, he's an ultra-liberal, democracy-loving free thinker." I mean, I just can't imagine them suggesting that they would be good attributes to have for fascism.
But they never, you know, they never listen. And that's the problem.
And that's the thing. I don't particularly want to defend the EDL. I don't know anything about the EDL, really, you know. But I honestly, I don't see how at least the guy speaking and the people obviously agreeing with him, applauding, would be able to be characterized as fascists. I really don't. That's just, it just seems like a silly characterization, you know.
Until these people can find a political organisation, they are screaming in the wind like us. But read and watch what these guys have got to say, and I swear to you, if you agree with them, you agree with me.
Okay, so I mean
That's interesting.
yeah, that's very interesting. And one thing that I find really interesting about this is that, you know, the sort of Mangina Brigade on YouTube, you know, the sort of the smaller, like Kevin Logan and the circles he runs in. You know, I've seen plenty of them on Twitter going, "Oh my god, look at the audience Saga on a cruise." It's like, there are what, 100 people here? You know, I have 315,000 subscribers. You know, these people would be a drop in an ocean. But B, good. I want them to watch my videos. I want them to listen to me explaining why liberal values, universal, individualist values, are the best values. And hopefully, I can persuade them that these are good values, and they won't be like, I was going to be a collectivist, a racially motivated collectivist, but I've been persuaded. Whereas the progressives, all they're going to do is, all they've tried to do since day one is lock these people out of political discourse. And if you do that, you are going to drive them further and further to the edge, which is why all these ultra-nationalist right-wing organisations are on the rise. You know, we know this. It's like, there is no other explanation for this. And people say it. People will tell you that's why they're joining them. If we can actually get people to actually talk about, like, you know, more moderate, sensible, universal principles, that's a good thing. I would rather deconvert the racists than drive them into a death camp, whatever the progressives plan to do when they finally take over. I mean,
You know, here's something interesting that you said, you know, because your values are the best values. And what I personally noticed is that the progressive ideology really hates things that are the best. They want mediocrity across the board, which is scary. You know, it's like, why would you want mediocrity to be the standard of excellence? Like, name me one thing that the progressives are saying that this is the best or this is really good. You know,
I think you need to check your
ideology-
privilege about now, because I can't think of anything.
Yeah, that's the thing, you know, and they promote mediocrity wherever they go.
They do. And the thing is, right, this, we've got to remember that this isn't necessarily representative of the EDL. I mean, I like I said, I don't know how big they are. I don't really know. I should have looked in advance of the stream, really. I didn't really think about it, but I mean, this is what, like 100 people at the most. So I mean, if the EDL's got like 5,000 members or something, this is again a tiny representation. And this was in High Wycombe, which is near where I live, actually. I'm just going to see how far away it is. Because, I mean, one of the things that we don't get a lot of racism in Wiltshire, you know. It's it's not in Wiltshire. It's nearer London, but yeah, it's not too far away from where I live. And okay, maybe you get, I don't know whether you get like racist organisations there. I've never been there, but in like Wiltshire where I live, nobody wants any of this. You know, I mean, we don't actually have like a massive Muslim problem here yet. So
You know,
you know.
I see a common progressive tactic. They will find a group of people that they don't like, and they will label that group as Nazis, racist, whatnot.
Of course.
And then you don't have to listen to the individual because he's part of the group. So his ideas don't matter anymore because those ideas come from a Nazi, you know? And I really have nothing against listening to people who are, let's say, even Nazis or Islamists. You know,
Yeah.
as long as the idea he says makes sense, then so what? You know, I think that even a progressive can, I disagree with him, but even he can have a good idea.
Yeah,
or
the stopped clock that's right twice a day.
Exactly, you know.
Yeah, no, I agree with it. You know, and this is the thing, the eternal ad hominem. Yeah, but I don't like it because it came from an X. It's like, yeah, but is what he's saying correct? And this was the thing about the American Association of Pediatricians. There were a bunch of people going, yeah, they're like creationists. It's like, yeah, but it doesn't matter if they're creationists if they're actually not saying something that is based in creationism and what they are saying is true. You know, it doesn't matter that their other views are creationist. Like, and I was talking about like Ben Carson. It's like Ben Carson doesn't stop being a brilliant neurosurgeon because he thinks the Earth is 6,000 years old. You know.
Yeah.
But anyway, well, sorry, go on, Arch.
If I may. The interesting thing is, he brings up your channel and basically says, if you agree with this guy, you agree with me. So it's fair to assume that he shares your views on many things.
Yeah.
And you're not the most fascist person I've ever met. So, I mean, we kind of have to take his word for it, which is a stark contrast to if you just Google EDL, which comes up with EDL is a far-right street protest movement. I really don't see how this is actually consistent with what we've been told, but...
Well, again, maybe this is not necessarily a representative sample, and I'm not saying that it is or isn't. I'm just saying that's a possibility we need to consider, because we could. I mean, these guys, I don't think look like fascists. I mean, and like you said, I mean, this is one of the things that people were saying. Oh my god, there was someone on Twitter like, oh my god, you should distance yourself from the EDL, and I'm like, why? I don't have any contact with them. I couldn't be any more distant from them. You know, and if
even if they would be fascists, even though I have no reason to believe they are, what they are saying here is things that I agree. I mean, they did not say a single thing that a rational person would be against.
Yeah, no, I agree, and like you're saying, I'm obviously promoting like classical liberal values. You know, these are like the bedrock of what I'm trying to get across to people. Like, these are universal, they work for everyone. You know, these are the best way forward, so we can guarantee that nobody is getting their rights infringed. And I'm obviously anti-racist. I mean, the alt-right hate me because I'm anti-racist. The progressives hate me because I'm anti-collectivist and anti-Marxist. So, I mean, I don't see how you could then characterize me as anything other than a liberal, because I have been entirely consistent on this point. And
well,
if he
also hate you because you're anti-collectivist.
Yeah, and because I'm not racially pure enough for the white nationalists. But yeah, so it's like, it's one of these things that if he's saying that this guy's promoting liberal values, I agree with these values, you'll agree with them too. Is this a fascist organisation we're dealing with? You know? I mean, I just...
I've actually been looking around on Google the last few minutes, trying to find like any images of the EDL with like a Nazi iconography or anything. I haven't found shit.
Is it just England flags? Is it the three lions?
Yeah, it's just English flags. I mean, it's nationalistic, but nationalism doesn't mean Nazism. There's a difference.
Well,
yeah, this is the thing that I noticed. Like that, the progressives have gone so far left that simply having a flag of your country or saying that you care about your country is now far right. You know, it's considered to be like fascism. There's nothing wrong with caring about your country. I mean, everyone cares about their country. For fuck's sake, they were born there. Their life experiences, you know, their friends, their family live there. Yeah,
they are a product of their environment, and if their environment has made them into a good person, why shouldn't they be proud of that? You know, a lot of people are, oh, nationalism's so arbitrary. It's actually not. You know, you are a product of your environment. That you should be, if you live in an environment that you should be proud of, that actually supports everyone's rights, you know, is anti-racist, is anti-sexist, like, say, the West. There's nothing wrong with being proud of that. In fact, that's something you should be actively trying to export to other countries. You know?
I'm sure there are people who don't like their country or who hate their country or whatnot, but they have to understand there are other people that are not like them.
Yeah.
You know, and there are other people who do care about their countries and would want to make their countries better.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I don't think I would ever support an organisation with the name, like English Defence League, or like... And this is why I would never call myself a men's rights activist. I don't... It's playing into the game of identity politics, you know? And that's not what I'm ever going to do. I'm not doing that, you know, I'm not... and you automatically exclude people as soon as you start setting a name like that, you know? You then have set yourself a hurdle that you've got to get over in people's minds. So... Like with feminism, doesn't feminism care about men? That's what they're answering that question still, and feminism has been going for like 70 years or something. So it means that, you know, that is obviously a bad thing to do. Therefore, I'm never going to do it. You know, it's just a tactical maneuver in that way.
Yeah,
For the record, I found a fat, presumably English person with a swastika tattooed on his breast. So, there.
We have
There's
found
at least one Nazi.
we have found the EDL
interested in
Nazi.
EDL.
Well done. It's fantastic. But look, the thing is, like I said earlier, Tommy Robinson left the EDL because of white nationalist infiltration. And so, I mean, I've got no doubt that there will be white nationalists in the EDL, but like all things, is that really fair to characterise people who are not white nationalists as white nationalists?
You know, there's probably murderers that are Democrats. Does that mean it's okay to characterize Democrats as murderers?
Yeah.
You know, like how many of them do they need to be until you can categorize a group as being fascist or whatnot? You know, that there's a lot of Bernie Sanders supporters who are open communists. Does that mean that all of them are?
Well, Comrade Sanders isn't. Oh no, sorry, yeah, he is. I'm joking.
He has people from the KKK supporting him.
Yeah, but the thing is, did you see the video of that Black Trump supporter where the newscaster went to him and was like, you know, so what do you think of David Duke coming out in support of Donald Trump? And he was just like, they come out of the woodwork every time every time there's an election. You know, that you can't stop these people from voting. Therefore, they're gonna make their votes known because they're a political organisation. And he was just like, he just shrugged it. I was like, this is bullshit. Shut up. And it was like, fair play to that guy.
My favorite thing is that Fox News used the word cockservative for the.
I love that they were doing it like, they're calling us cockservatives. And it's like, yes, you are cockservatives. Just, you know, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's the same way that a lot of the people on the left, you know, we've got a fair share of regressives. You know, cockservative is just the same sort of thing. And you know what I find funny about all of this? Is the idea that, okay, say that these were all white nationalists. A, the dude's holding up a picture of a Semitic king, yelling about how great this is. And B, I'm not racially pure enough to be a white nationalist. So why would they back me? You know?
Maybe they're just racially confused. Very, very confused.
Yeah, it's like there's this journalist called CJ Whirlman on Twitter the other day, and I'm not kidding. He literally tweeted, of course, Richard Dawkins and other racist / white supremacists like Majid Nawaz. You know, don't they all like Majid Nawaz? Sorry, and I just replied to him saying, in fact, no, none of them do. They all don't like Majid Nawaz because he's not white. And if Richard Dawkins likes him, then he's probably not a white supremacist. What the fuck sort of statement is that to make in public? From a guy he writes for Al Jazeera and he's got 30,000 Twitter followers, and he's calling Richard Dawkins a white supremacist because he likes Majid Nawaz. I mean, you can't explain that using reason, you know?
No, it's quite fun. It's just a word they use to scare people because the Nazis are scary. I like the fact that they never use communists as a bad thing.
Of course not. They are communists.
It's always fascist. It's always like right wingers, and they never like call Islamists as being right wing. You know,
of course they
like
do.
I bet in their view Islamists are progressive. You know, and I'm talking about like when I say Islamists, I'm not talking about a Muslim person practicing his belief. An Islamist is different than a Muslim because he wants to spread his belief.
Yeah, an Islamist is someone who is using Islam as a political ideology. A Muslim is a religious category, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Just so it may clear, you know? And these people, you know, the ones that want women to be heavily dressed, they want they have conservative values, the importance of the family unit and all that. They're far right. I mean,
yeah, no, they're extremely conservative. You know, extremely conservative.
Yeah, they're more conservative than the people in the George Bush era.
Yeah. We'll let this guy finish just in case he says anything like, you know, this guy, 1488 or something.
Ends with high
Yeah. Watch, guys. Now then, just a little bit on the other side of things. Notice there's no face masks over there today. I wonder why. Getting the pictures taken of them. Right. St. Francis of Assisi. What the chuff does that mean? He went over in 1219 to try and convert the Caliph of Egypt to Christianity. He failed, but he came back with a pacifist organisation saying we can live with peace with Islam. Now, 72 years after this pacifist organisation started in Christianity, in 1291, Acre fell to Islam, resulting in the loss of the Holy Lands. In 164 years after this pacifist organisation started, Constantinople fell, and it's now Istanbul. 76 years after this pacifist Christianity started, they were at the gates of Vienna, and again in 1683. Now, this pacifist organisation called Franciscans is now the fucking Pope! And he is going to tell you that we can live peacefully side by side with a savage wolf that is called Islam. And
Yeah, I disagree here.
Yeah, I really don't think you can lay all of that at the feet of Francis of Assisi.
Yeah, but not only that, you can live peacefully with Muslims, and a lot of people from outright would disagree, but in my country you can. I mean, the only way to have multiculturalism is to apply the laws on everyone, you know. And if a Muslim rapes, or if a Muslim does something that he's not supposed to do, like encourage people to behead others who draw Muhammad, he needs to be deported. And after you deport 50 or 60 of them, the rest will behave, because believe it or not, Abdul, who comes from Somalia, you know, he probably went on a boat with other Muslim refugees risking drowning, and he does not want to be sent back to Somalia, so he's going to behave. The problem why multiculturalism isn't working in the West is because they are not they are being protected by the police. You know, the laws are not being
look at the German authorities, man. Just the way the German authorities will downplay the role of Islam in everything that's been going on in Germany. And I mean, like, pathologically, they don't even seem to know that they're doing it. And it's just like, man, you know, I'm not suggesting we demonize all Muslims, but let's be real. Let's be honest. You know, there is a reason that there are so many Muslim men who are, you know, mistreating non-Muslim women generally, and it's because they and this all happened in Norway, where they were having the classes to teach like these immigrants, and the guy was literally in shock that he couldn't have sex with his wife if she said no. The idea of rape in Islam under marriage doesn't exist, and he's like,
yeah.
Oh, well, I mean that's very new to me.
As well, so
Sorry.
That's something we debated in law school as well, and there were some people that were shocked at the time, because they believe that once you marry, you basically give consent for the entire duration.
Yeah.
And obviously, yeah, those people who supported that argument lost the debate. But it's another thing, because those Muslim awareness classes, you know, you need to believe that the problem is that they don't know that rape is wrong. And I'm curious, like, how much money is being involved into having these courses.
Well, yeah, an awful lot. It was millions in Norway. But yeah, that's the thing. In their minds, I don't think they consider it to be rape. You know, I don't think they think of that as rape. Therefore, why would they think it's wrong?
You're right. Maybe they don't consider, but I don't think, like, raping a woman on the street, even I don't think they justify that as being okay. You know?
Well, I mean, it depends what country they come from. If they come from any of these sort of 22 Sharia law using countries, then it's the woman's fault and she gets stoned.
I mean, I don't think it's because they don't think it's rape, it's because they don't see it as legal. I mean, if murder was legal, then murder would be a bad thing. In this case, rape isn't illegal.
Well, that's not true. I mean, murder would still obviously be a bad thing, but I mean,
sorry.
Maybe this just comes from the sort of, and I'm so sick of people trying to defend Islam on the point of women. You know, it's like, no, you cannot suggest that Islam is anything other than highly misogynistic. I mean, it institutionalizes inequality. So, I mean, look, I find it really baffling when anyone says, "Oh, Islam's about tolerance and equality." No, it's not. It's literally the opposite. It's in the book. It says exactly that. So, saying the opposite is just absurd. And I've forgotten what I was going with this now. But
the argument is funny as well. I mean, they would look at a society like America before women got the right to vote, and they would find it extremely patriarchal, extremely oppressive to women. And then they look at the society that's run by Muslims, or you know how Muslims are behaving in UK, and it's like, oh, women choose to wear burqa. Get the fuck
Choosing,
out! How do you know?
Yeah.
You know, forcing people to wear burqa and then saying, well, they just choose to. It's like, well, niggers chose to stay on plantations.
Well, this is the same thing with Anita Sarkeesian and the makeup. She's like, the patriarchy wants women to wear makeup all the time. I'm going to wear lots of makeup. And it's like, yeah, but you're just doing what the patriarchy asks you. No, I'm choosing. How do you know? The only way to know that you're not choosing this secret patriarchal control is by not doing it. That's the only option if you want to prove to yourself you're doing it for yourself. You'd have to not do it. So, it's the same hypocrisy, I think.
I mean, of course, if you raise women from birth and you indoctrinate them that they need to wear that. But the thing is, like, do women who are not Islamic wear something similar as a burqa? If they
not to my knowledge.
Yeah.
And the thing is, this as well, with female genital mutilation, incredibly prevalent across the Islamic world and mostly done by women. So it's like,
I'm wondering slightly off the point here, because his idea is that Muslim is bad just overall because it's an aggressive expansionist religion, and that's why we should fight against it. And at some points I agree, but I don't think that's a problem with Muslims in specific, as long as, like V said, they're willing to integrate and follow the laws of the country they're in. Then pray to whatever sky god you want.
Well, yeah, I think what this guy needs to be more specific rather than saying Muslims or Islam, because that's too broad. He means Islamists. He means Islamists.
Name me something bad that Muslims do, and let's see if it's illegal or not.
So,
name me anything that it upsets you as a British person that these people are in your country and they're doing this.
Oh, Sharia courts. I can't stand Sharia courts.
Okay, that's illegal. There should be no law, under your country than that law. So that should be banned.
Yeah, I'm so firmly against the idea of Sharia courts in any country that isn't a country of Sharia, that implements Sharia. And even then, I'm against it then. It's just that's their own self-determination. If you want to run a shithole where you oppress women, gays, and various other people, okay, that's your choice. But I don't want to live in an oppressive society. So
my point is, if you would apply the laws, this wouldn't be a problem. Like, we already have laws that there should be no law under British law. Sharia law shouldn't exist.
Yeah, I agree. I can't stand it. I really... We've got like 80 Sharia courts in Britain now, and I'm just like, why? Why has anyone agreed to any of this? I mean, and this is what I mean by the guy needs to make the distinction between Islam and Islamism. I mean, Islam, any religion that's practiced by fundamentalists and, in a political fashion becomes intolerable. Any religion. So, and Islam, don't get me wrong, I'm not suggesting that all religions are equal, because Islam is by far the worst of these. By far, But I would hate an extremist, supremacist Buddhist movement. What, you're not allowed to eat fucking, I don't know, whatever, you're probably not allowed to eat meat. You're probably not allowed to fraternize with women. All this sort of, whatever. I don't really know. I'm just talking shit now. But you know what I mean. It's any religion taken to like its most extreme position and then enforced on others is intolerable. Islam is no different.
If Islam would try to pull the shit they pull in Britain and Romania, like people would walk into their mosques and okay, this preacher is asking for people who draw Muhammad to be beheaded, deported. Because you're committing a crime by doing that. You're inciting people to violence. You're making people commit criminal activities. That's not okay. Or if they would have, let's say, a rally where they would scream for Islam to rule over Romania's government or something like that, that's still a crime. I mean, in my country at least, you can't do that.
Yeah. And the thing is, I also heard that Muslims are all console peasants. So.
That makes it worse. Much worse.
The problem with the video is that this person is doing something that I disagree with. Okay, he is playing into the whole Islamophobia thing, because when you do that, people who are already indoctrinated by the progressives or who are more progressive friendly, they would just stop listening to you. They shut down. So you need to hit them with new arguments that they don't expect. For instance, I would say, I don't like the fact that so many Muslims are coming in because they don't pay taxes and they benefit from welfare. And I don't think that's fair for the people who paid into the system. And that's a better argument. Or you can say, well, no one asked for us to have war refugees. Why is it this is not democratic? Why didn't you have a referendum? Why didn't you ask the people what they want?
Yeah.
You know, this is not a democracy anymore. If you can just make decisions like these without consulting the people first.
Well, absolutely. None of this has been democratically orchestrated either. I mean, none of this would be happening if this was all put to a vote. You know, do you want to let in millions of non-EU residents to your country? Many of them will have supremacist beliefs and will want to set up their own religious courts in your country, under which they will oppress women and gays. You know, vote yes or no, please. You know, very few people are going to vote yes.
Well, they actually shamed Hungary for having a referendum, and there's this politician, I think he's from Germany or from UK, I'm not sure exactly.
Yeah. And okay, hang on. I just want to stop there because you know, I think we've covered it, because I want to go on to the next video, because this is something that happened.
If I may.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
One last thing, because we mentioned previously we don't think that he would be saying this stuff if he was a fascist. You know, he wouldn't try to cover that up.
Yeah.
And I really think this kind of proves it, because he then goes on to make a sweeping generalization for Muslims. If he was actually a fascist, I think he would have said fascist stuff to begin with and not try to hide it.
Yeah, I don't see why. I mean, like I think V was actually right. You know, I don't think he means Muslims as religious, you know, quiet, peaceful religious people. I do think he means Islamists, and I do think he should be specific to say Islamists, because they are the problem. You know, peaceful Muslims, like you say, peaceful Muslims who want to integrate and just worship whatever sky god they want aren't causing any trouble, because they're not making it a political statement. As soon as you make it a political statement, what they're advocating for is monstrous, and now you have to deal with it.
I mean, let me tell you something funny that you probably don't know. Turkey wanted to build the biggest mosque in Europe in Romania, and the people who were against this were the actual Romanian Muslims living here. They were like, why would you want to build such a huge mosque? That there aren't enough Muslims to fill it in Romania, you know? And they did this because they understood that, you know, it reflects badly on them if it would allow to go on. Again, you know, the Muslims here are not making problems. They're not asking for Sharia law. They're not asking for beheading of people who draw Muhammad. They don't bother us. We don't bother them.
Yeah. But this video is a video that was on the 28th of April, I think it was. Oh yeah, April the 28th. This is how rival white supremacist groups are uniting to fight a race war. These are actual white supremacists. It's only 2 minutes long. Let's watch it.
The torch in that video.
Go on! Hooray!
This is making history. We are bringing together all the white organizations. There is no more time for division, whether it's over religion, whether it's over uniforms, whether it's over symbols. If you're still trying to create division and you're trying to say you're involved in this white power movement, there is something wrong with you.
So they're not trying to create division, but they're for white power, okay? Hold on a minute, hold on.
Hang on. It's only a minute left.
Go to leave it. We'll get done with it. Do this time right here.
We're a political movement. We're not a hatred movement.
How many Jews can you fit in a Volkswagen? All of them go to the Airstream! Well, there's a party. We need to have our weapons ready. You know, we like our symbol, you know, and it's meaningful to us. And the symbol of the swastika is a symbol of white power. we're willing to accept groups into our alliance that are more moderate, but we're not going to tolerate infighting in the white nationalist movement anymore, period. White power!
Right. So that's an
That was very subtle.
Yeah, that is that's what the real white supremacists actually look like, you know. And this is why when I'm watching the EDL video, and then they're not burning crosses or screaming white power or anything like that, and they're not billing themselves as National Socialists.
This is the Nazi test. They're burning cross.
You know, I mean, maybe they're just really good at hiding it. I don't know. I mean, this is what I view as the difference between these two. I mean, you know, these are the actual people who would probably call themselves Nazis. These are the people who I think are just genuinely concerned about the changes being made to their country without their permission.
See, the problem is that these people are offering solution for multiculturalism, you know, and that's why they're danger, because you have all these people in this video that I see, you know, who want multiculturalism to be solved, and they go to their politicians, and their politicians call them Islamophobes, you know, they no-platform them. The media does the same. Where are they going to go? And oh, look, it's already this established organization promises to swoop in and help you out. Well, they also hate the Jews, and they also want women to stay in the kitchen, and they also want Christian values to return. But no, you know, one problem at a time.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you might not have an objection to, or particularly strong objection to any of these that outweighs your concern that makes you want to join them. So you're supporting things you might not support, but other things would be pushing you into it, you know?
Yeah, and
I mean, it's your only fucking option at that point. Like, the main media doesn't cover you. The political organizations do not back your views. So you're gonna have to find somebody that does.
Yeah, and anyone at this point, you know.
Yeah, and the problem is that these people, you know, they would have been avoided if freedom of speech would have been allowed, and their ideas would be shot down. Instead, they were allowed to fester, and they became, you know, quite a significant number on the internet, especially.
Yeah. And so compare those. Sorry, go on, Arch.
You know, like I really just want to. I'm wondering where it came from, because it feels like people have gone to the social justice courses that you mentioned, where they're just looking for racism, etc. I think they're just looking for the subtle Nazism, to the point where if they see anything that might in some way possibly be construed as white nationalism, like, for example, the speaker being fucking white, then that's enough for them.
I mean, Nazi, how do you know he's a Nazi? Because he's white. Yeah, that's how they do it.
They think that there has to be some kind of hidden agenda, and then you see the actual Nazis burning fucking 6-foot crosses, and you go like, Nazis! Actual Nazis!
Yeah, they're not actually hiding it. They're proud of being Nazis, which is why they are Nazis. The other people... I mean, look at this. This is a German mob who chased the Minister of Justice to his armoured Mercedes, screaming, "Get out, traitor!" I mean, that doesn't sound very Nazi-like. You know, it sounds like people who have been fucking sold up the river.
Nein, wir sind hier. Wir werden nicht abhauen.
To be fair, they do have a right to be pissed.
Sorry, say again?
They do have a right to be pissed. I mean, the government, you know, allowed so many Muslims. How many?
Damn
200
right.
Without.
Yeah, and the government failed. The government really failed. Like, all you need to do is look at Cologne, and you see that their justice system failed miserably.
Fuck alone. Even if these people would behave and would be okay, why are you giving them welfare from the people who pay taxes for? You know, like, you need to ask the people who paid the money if they're on board with this or not. How would you feel if someone would force a homeless guy into your house?
But it's the defiance of it. You know, no, you're all wrong, we're right. And it's like, okay, it doesn't really matter if that's your opinion, because these are the voters. So, you know, they're not going to keep voting for you. So now democracy becomes your obstacle.
Yeah, especially when it's problems that affect the nation at such a scale. You should ask the people. I mean, how did this all start? It's like they found a dead child on the shores of Greece, right? And
Turkey,
that's
I think it was.
when the media started spinning the narrative and making it important to that it's a Muslim crisis and we need to take more Muslims.
Yeah, but I mean, can you imagine being a politician and you're standing on stage, you're about to give a speech, and a huge crowd in front of you just unanimously starts just chanting "traitor, traitor" at you? I mean, you would think there would be some self-reflection there, where you'd be like, okay, I mean, no, they're just wrong, they're just racist. Look at all these Nazis.
It's so easy to demonize the opposition to the point where they're not human, and it's like, well, they're evil, so of course they'll do that.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not seeing any Nazi flags. I'll turn the sound off so we can talk over it. I'm not seeing any Nazi flags. You know, I'm seeing a lot of people pissed off holding up signs which probably say "fuck off" in German. You know.
No, for
Yeah, but they're angry white people, therefore Nazis.
Yeah, therefore, and angry white Germans, mate. Aryans are on the rise in Germany because they're full of them. But look, just this sort of defiance. It's like, mate, you can't say this isn't a popular will when, I mean, there are way more people there than at the EDL thing, as far as I can see. You can't say this is something that you can just go, no, you're all wrong, blah blah blah. It's fucking absurd. I mean, do they seem to forget what democracy is meant to be for?
Not to mention, what are they actually doing? They're holding a protest. They're yelling at him. Nobody's throwing rocks. Nobody's charging the stadium. I don't see anything wrong with this. This guy has fucking failed you, and you should be free to show your disdain for him, honestly.
If anything, this is you doing your civic duty. You know? If a bunch of fucking politicians who are just deeply, deeply ashamed of what they are and the country they represent are somehow, are literally letting in millions of third world immigrants who are causing trouble and costing millions, why wouldn't you be pissed off about this? I mean, I can't see why this shouldn't be a legitimate thing for them to be angry and protest about. You know? And again, like, chanting "traitor, traitor, we're the people." Does that make them Nazis, or does that just make them voters? You know?
Large numbers of white people equal Nazis, clearly.
Yeah, and I just want to stress that, like, this again, just, it's not wrong to protest Islam. Right? It's really not wrong to protest a lot of the stuff they do. I mean, this is just a Qatari educational video. Software, sorry. Again, memory is just... these guys are fucking just amazing. These things are just, around the Middle East.
God, I love the animations. Okay.
Even though the Jews are very cowardly. Oh my god.
They kicked your ass in like 3 wars. Shut up. Alright.
Man, is this from Paul or is this actual from Islam?
No, this... Oh my god, look at this. This is amazing. Right? This was... Animated videos on the internet encourage children to hate Jews. The video is produced as educational software for boys and girls in the children's section of the Qatari government-owned internet portal islamweb.net.
Man, why do Paul and outright people hate the Islam? Because they can like join forces against the Jews at this point.
Yeah, I mean, and they're proper traditionalists as well. They want women in the kitchen, so...
The cowardly Jews are occupying most of Palestine.
Yeah, and they want to take over other countries. How are they doing this if they're so
Dream
cowardly?
on! They fucking beat their asses in 3 wars with like, cowardly bastards, dream on.
But I love the happy smiling faces. Yeah, we're going to kill the Jews. Okay. Look at that! Just look at these. The Jews love the Muslims. The Jews are so frustrated. The Jews are trustworthy. The Jews are cowards.
Agreement.
This
promises. Oh, that's definitely minus points if you.
Yeah. Palestine is free. Yeah, no, I don't think they're going to be saying that. Just the Jews are trustworthy.
Jews are trustworthy. Skip that one. Yep.
Yeah. Jews violate agreements. I'm pretty sure that's going in. Yep. There we go.
The next one, no, that's clearly false.
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
Look at that. That's...
Palestine is free.
Yes.
Even the little sun down in the corner is winking at me. Very touching.
Fucking hell.
Best fire effects ever.
Concrete is burning.
Oh, but wait, this is a white child.
Yeah, I was thinking he looks a bit Western, doesn't he? Have you heard what the Jews are doing? Oh God, what now? Jews are criminals. Jesus.
Certainly, we shouldn't blame Hamas for it.
Pray for Allah to wreak vengeance.
That will fix everything.
Well, to wreak vengeance on
Yeah,
the
that's
Jews,
gonna-
yeah. Oh, yeah, economic war, that'll hit the Jews. They know how to fight them.
Allah does not have the ability to melt steel.
But this is state propaganda, you know, and then, I mean, this... and this... I've got another video that we'll go on afterwards, actually, because it's just...
The simple fact is, if the Jews actually wanted to kill all of the Palestine people, there would be no Palestine right now.
Yeah, they could easily have done it. I mean, I'm quite critical of Israel on a lot of things, right?
Omar write his essay by dragging the proper conduct to the bulletin.
Thing is, I'm pretty damn critical of Israel. I don't think Israel's in any way perfect. But you can't deny that they've showed a great deal of restraint when dealing with Palestine. You know, I mean, they really have. It's really quite impressive how many people they've failed
Absolutely
to kill.
no question.
You know,
I mean, let's compare it to America.
yeah,
They got a couple of their towers bombed, and they glassed 2 nations.
yeah. You know, so it's. I mean, don't get me wrong. You know, Israel does do things that I totally disagree with, but they're not the great Satan. But let's see how Omar writes his essay, because this is. Do we get a translation? Ah, there we go. Pray for Gaza. Pray for only myself. Well,
Hey,
definitely
only
pray
for myself. Why not?
Boycott enemy products.
I like that one.
Don't donate money. Oh no, maybe that means to Gaza. Yeah, donate money to Gaza. Encourage friends to donate. Yeah, definitely. Oh, look at that. That's wonderful. Just
Oh, he can't actually even drag it over. Oh,
well done, Omar. You're the best.
that is adorable. Creepy, but adorable.
They want the
No. I've got and so this was the video that I think we can finish on. And the problem that I have with almost all of this is, I mean, it's very easy to spot the people who are the problem. You know, the people who want something genuinely awful, because they say that they want something genuinely awful. And, well, what's this? This is an Egyptian German scholar, so I guess an Egyptian descent chap who grew up in Germany or something. And this is...
منذ بداية الإسلام مش عايز ينتهي الهوس ده، واليهود كلهم يعني إيه قردين وحارس، يعني طول عمرهم أعدادهم بسيطة بس مسبب لنا حاجة كده في دماغنا مش عارفين نطلعهم من دماغنا. أنا أيام الدراسة في القاهرة كنت دايما بشوف في كل المكتبات في القاهرة وعلى الأرصفة من أكتر الكتب مبيعا كتابين. كتاب كفاحي لهتلر اللي كان طول عمره ممنوع من النشر في ألمانيا لأنه كتاب عنصري، وكتاب بروتوكولات حكماء صهيون اللي هو أصلا مزيف.
So there we go, right? You know, this Egyptian guy in Egypt, the most popular books are Mein Kampf and the Protocol of the Elders of Zion, and they're calling, like, these, you know, the Germans and the EDL, you know, Pegida and the EDL, they're calling them fascists, and it's just like, I just don't see how that's accurate.
Yeah, look yourself in the mirror, mate, and then tell me who's the fascist.
Yeah, and don't criticize Islam or Islamic countries, you Islamophobe. It's like, so what are you, defending the eradication of the Jews or what? I mean, what are we not criticizing here? This is well worth criticizing, you know. And I'm glad this guy's doing this. He's like, you know, the Jews have become a boogeyman. We should probably not be crazy. I don't know. I mean, good for him. I hope he gets the support he needs. And he doesn't get his head chopped off with a machete, which is pretty likely, to be honest. I mean, we know that this happens a lot, so...
What if he's a crypto Jew, man?
He does have kind of a big nose, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He is pushing Zionist
Sneaky.
propaganda, isn't he? So yeah, that's just I guess the point we'll end on, because I just wanted to show people why I'm like, oh, the EDL, they're fascists. Like, are they fascists? I mean, at least the guys in that video didn't appear to be fascist. They seem to be, in fact, anti-fascist. And in fact, if you were going to call someone in the equation of EDL versus Muslim fascist or Islamist fascist, I would be a lot more inclined to call the Islamists fascists. I mean, I would just be... They just seem obviously more fascist.
I'm curious if these people have ever heard of the alt-right. I mean, I just recently read the blog on them, and they discuss on how many Jews are in music and in movies, or not only Jews, but like people who are working in the movie industry and are married to Jews. And their whole idea is that the Jews are so few in number, but they own so much.
Don't get me wrong. I can understand that would be a concern, but there's someone in the chat.
What's the difference with progressives who look at the Oscars and it's like, oh, it's filled with white people, so just because they're white, they will care about the other white people more.
Yeah, but what annoys me? Yeah, exactly. What annoys me about this? It's like, okay, look, put Ben Shapiro and George Soros in the same room. Do you think you're going to come out with a Jewish conspiracy? No, you're going to get Ben Shapiro dressing him down repeatedly from his knees. He'll be shouting up with a megaphone, maybe.
Put Milo Yiannopoulos and George Soros in a room. That's interesting.
Yeah, he's Jewish, isn't he? Which is something the alt-right conveniently forgets, to put the echo quotes around Milo's name. But and someone in the chat's like, oh my god, a nation created for God's chosen, they can do no wrong in their own eyes, and yet they also keep annexing more and more. Yep, the Jews have been the patient ones. It's like, well, look, man, I don't agree with Israel's expansionist policies. I totally disagree with West Bank settlements, for example. I wish we could do more about them, but for some reason, we're not. And, for some reason, people aren't making a big deal out of it, or at least, if they are, you've got a legion of fucking faggots screaming Islamophobia or whatnot, and just preventing any kind of meaningful dialogue. So it's just one of these things. It's like, I just wish people would stop calling each other fascists. It just doesn't help, does it? And at the end of the day, I mean, what the fuck? Why is this the conversation in our political landscape? Just, we must have fucked up somewhere if this is now what we need to talk about. Just fucking bizarre. But is there anything you want to say before I end the stream, guys, just in case?
No, I think I'm good.
I think V's dropped, so... but yeah, so thanks for watching, everyone.
That was a bit too much Jew for me.
Yeah, no worries. I honestly thought you were going to get a Gas the Kikes in there. But yeah, so I don't see the EDL that we've seen in the videos being particularly fascist. They just seem like scared people who are watching their country change beyond their control and want to try and have some form of political expression, which I don't blame them for, and they're entitled to it. So, I don't think they need to be just denounced as fascist. I mean, they may well be fascist. I'm going to talk to Tommy Robinson tomorrow, so I'll find out whether they're fascist, whether he's a fascist, what his political beliefs are, all this sort of stuff. Because I've actually specifically tried not to read up on it too much, because I don't know what's true and what's not. And so I want to at least hear his side of the story before I start coming to my own conclusions, before I start at least reading what other people have said. Because all these people do is poison the well. That's all they do. That's what they... On Twitter, it was just the most amusing thing. When the faggots in the SJW movement were like, oh my god, look at this guy, he's got a picture of Sargon, look at this, Sargon, your audience. It's like, my audience? What are you talking about? It's one dude with a fucking piece of paper. And even if that's the case, I'm not promoting racism. I'm anti-racism, and I'm actively promoting it. And the people who are racist on all sides hate me for it. So if these guys promote me, then good.
This guilt by association is something we really need to get over with. Just label someone to essentially to be able to ignore them. It's fucking stupid.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, if the EDR want to watch my videos, go ahead, they're public. You know, I can't stop anyone watching them, and I would like SJW communist Marxist faggots to watch my videos, and maybe they'll fucking learn a thing or two as well. You know, everyone, I want everyone to understand why these ideas are better than their ideas, and at some point I want them to actually have a think about it and go, you know what, maybe he's right. Maybe we have been poisoning ourselves with hatred of the Jews or the white man or whatever it is you fucking think is the problem. Just this never-ending hatred is just a waste of time.